Exterior fishing village. The samurai tosses her into the mud and removes the knife from his neck. Sarah looks up to see Gigi's lifeless body next to her. The ONI leader watches on top of his horse. Yu is about to run out to Sarah, but Hikaru holds her back. The masked samurai menacingly pulls out his katana and slashes across Sarah's back. Her screech in pain makes Yu flinch and cover her ears once more. Sarah attempts to crawl away. The samurai follows, slashing her back again and again. The other masked warriors laugh hysterically until Sarah finally stops moving. In her last breath, she looks underneath the house to stare at the children. Yu watches as the life fades from Sarah's eyes. The samurai walks closer to her body and stomps on her head, crushing it beneath his boot. Yu, again, hides in her brother's shoulder. Hikaru is reeling from shock, but his bafflement turns to a seeping rage that shakes him to his very core. He looks over to the ONI leader, who appears amused at such a violent spectacle. He puts his mask back on and moves his finger in a circular motion. The entire army turns and leaves the village. A quietness lingers after they leave, the only sound being that of crackling fire, burning down the remaining houses that still stand. Exterior fishing village, night. Hikaru lies wide awake, looking up at the floor of their house above. The fires have burnt out, and all that remains is an eerie silence that is interrupted by the sound of Yu crying. Hikaru turns to see his sister facing away from him and sobbing. He crawls over and comforts her. She turns and holds him as she cries into his chest. Exterior fishing village, dawn. Yu wakes up the next day to find her brother missing. She panics for a few seconds before she peeks outside. Hikaru shovels dirt into a hole for the two graves. Yu crawls out from below.
Hikaru, Gigi told us to wait a day.
She walks over to her brother, who finishes patting down the dirt.
They were beginning to smell. I didn't want you to see them like that.
He puts the shovel down and kneels in front of the grave. Yu kneels next to him.
If you have any last words for them, now's the time.
Yu looks at her brother, who stares at the graves. She looks back at the graves and holds his hand.
Thank you, Gigi, for protecting us and making your delicious sweet potatoes every night. And thank you, Sarah, for teaching me to braid my own hair, and for all the stories you would tell us before bed. I will never forget your smiles. After Dad died, I thought Hikaru was the only family I had left, but the two of you cared for us when no one else would. I love you.
Yu gets up and walks away. Hikaru watches her leave, then looks back down at the graves.
Gigi, Sarah, I promise, I will avenge you.
Hikaru picks up Gigi's katana and admires the blade. He stands up and gives a deep bow to the grave before standing up. He turns around and picks up the basket she left them.
Come on, let's go.
But we're supposed to wait a whole day. That's what Gigi told us.
Gigi's dead, you. They're gone. Now we must survive on our own. Come.
Hikaru is about to walk ahead when someone on a horse can be seen riding their way.
Hikaru!
Yu grabs his hand and pulls him back under the house. The horse enters the village at a calm pace. The man atop the horse wears a straw hat and Ronin robes with a mask covering his face that cannot yet be seen. The horse stops in front of Gigi's home. The children see 2 feet hop off and walk inside. Hikaru crawls toward the hatch and tightly grips Gigi's katana. The footsteps stop over the hatch that slowly opens. Hikaru draws the sword with a shaky hand and puts his other arm in front of Yu to protect her. A Ronin wears an Oni mask. different from the ones they saw earlier. He stares at the terrified children, then slowly walks away from the hatch.